Hey, Jose Monkey, I want to know if you can find me.
You asked me to figure out where this video was recorded, so I did. Hi, I'm Jose Monkey, and I find people who ask to be found. Guys, it's Memorial Day, so I thought this video, which was recorded at a cemetery for veterans, would be an appropriate choice for today. So what can we see? Well, not a lot, frankly. Right from the start of the video, it's very obvious that this is at a cemetery. And we see all the things you would expect to see. Tombstones, trees, grass. By the way, this person recorded this video while driving, and I don't really accept new videos recorded from the driver's POV anymore, so just be aware of that. In this case, the person isn't out on like a highway somewhere, so it's probably fairly safe, but I'm trying to discourage people from recording videos while driving. Anyway, at one point in the video, we see that there's this small building off to the right side of the road. As the video continues, we see more of the same stuff: trees, tombstones, grass, and at one point we see this sign that says Central. Shortly after that, we see this fairly distinctive memorial here between these two trees. It appears to show the silhouette of a kneeling soldier. I'll come back to that. Toward the end of the video, this person turns right and appears to exit the cemetery. And when they do, we can see that just beyond the fence here, there's what appears to be a body of water and some sort of wooden structure next to it. And that's about it. Now, initially, I was thinking that if I searched for kneeling soldier silhouette or something like that I might find it right away. But what I found is that this is actually a fairly common style of memorial that's used in very many cemeteries. Of course, if I had to guess, I would say that if you did a Google Lens search, and especially if you included the trees that are framing the memorial here, then you'd probably get a match right away. Right, Chad? I don't know. Anyway, without using something like Google Lens, this might have been a tricky find. But fortunately, the person gave me one other clue. The person told me that this was in a state that starts with the letter I, and that this was a cemetery specifically for veterans. Obviously, that narrows things down to 4 states: Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa. Now, I was leaning towards Illinois or Indiana more so than the other two, but I admit that was mostly a hunch. So I just picked Indiana because I had to start somewhere. So I started looking for veteran cemeteries in Indiana, looking at image results, hoping that I would see either that memorial display or that small building that we saw off the side of the road. By the way, the very first thing that Google suggests when you search for that is the Indiana Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Madison, Indiana. But that wasn't it. As I looked through the image results, I found one that I didn't expect, and it was a map on the Find a Grave website of a particular cemetery. And that map listed the names of various sections of the cemetery, and one of them was Central. Now, Central is a fairly common name to use to label things, so I didn't think that necessarily meant that this was the right place. But I made a note of it. But guys, before I could even check it out any further, I scrolled further down in my list of results, and I found this image. That memorial looks just like the one in the video, and it's even framed by the trees in pretty much the same way as what we see. And it was at the same cemetery that the map was from. So I went to check it out. And guys, that was it. You're at the Indiana Veterans Home Cemetery in West Lafayette, Indiana. Confirming the exact spot was actually a little bit tricky. There's no street view in the cemetery itself, and the satellite view is a little bit tough because there's so many trees that you can't really see the ground very much. I was hoping I could figure out where that small building is and use that as a point of reference, but I was actually having trouble finding it. So I went back to that map of the cemetery, and on that map there's a building that is marked as a chapel, and I figured that had to be the building that we were looking for. So I compared that map to the satellite view. And when I did, I realized that the chapel's right over here, and you actually can see it on the 3D view in Google Maps. It's just a little bit hard to see because of the trees. So I believe that means that the video started over here near the chapel and ended over here near the cemetery entrance. Also, I had almost completely forgotten about that body of water that we saw at the end of the video. I believe that is Legion Lake, which is a popular fishing spot among residents of the Indiana Veterans Home. Okay, it's time to check which previous location was closest to this one. And this time it was in Season 2, Episode 42, in Lafayette, Indiana. That's about 8 miles or 13 kilometers away from this spot. Guys, I hope you're having a great weekend. Please take a moment at some point today to reflect on the reason for today's holiday and honor the service of those we've lost.